I'm back, and I want to address a lot of these ignorant comments up under my Section 8 post, especially the people, job, job application. Didn't I tell you motherfuckers not all, but most of Section 8 people work a job? We get it. Y'all know the word job. Find another word, because I'm really fucking sick of hearing it. Job, job, job. Like, shut the fuck up. They got, they got jobs. They do. Yeah. And it looks like Section 8 not going nowhere. Where's it going? Orange Face ain't said nothing about it. Y'all want it gone. But it ain't going nowhere. And you still not getting it. So you can hate on these people all you want, baby. And they gonna still work their job and they gonna still live in their nice houses. Who gonna do me something?
If they got jobs, then what's the problem? Because what I saw and what I reviewed was when that the new stipulations came out that was going to force people to work at least 20 hours a week, only 20 hours a week. There was a lot of people who were complaining. There was a lot of people who found that to be problematic. And there was a lot of people who wasn't working, who were upset about the fact that they had to go to work. So, granted, there are people working, right? And that is true. There are a lot of people who are on government assistance who are working. But what they lack, I believe, is the structure. Because, sure, you can be working today, but if you have this option over here that actually incentivizes you to quit your job, because if you quit your job because of whatever the petty reason is, then you get to go over here and tell them that you have no income. And now you get more benefits. So I would argue that a lot of people are incentivized to quit their job. And that's what a lot of times people do because they don't have the structure and the necessity to have to stay responsible and to have to keep their job. So I agree that there are a lot of people on government assistance who are working. But now what these rules bring is it brings a little bit more structure and it brings a little bit more consistency. And through consistency, it'll bring a little bit more stability, as well as the fact that if you're already working anyway, a lot of people are now weighing the fact of do they even want to keep the benefits or do they want to go through different avenues, right? And so what it's doing is it's weeding a lot of people out who really were on the benefits because they didn't want to have to work. But now that they have to work, now they're finding other avenues. And one thing that I've been coming across a lot of times, which is wild, is people who are just like, well, I'm going to just have more kids. And, they're planning on living off child support. So, fellas, beware because that's what's coming down now. Now, if you guys could just do me a favor real quick, I wanted to insert this in here. If you could like the video, I would greatly appreciate it. It helps more than you know, and it only takes a millisecond. But let's go ahead and get into the next clip.
And boom, just like that, Trump then cut y'all Section 8. Then cut your cake and ice cream for you. I always knew that Section 8 was not for the strong, and I'm going to say it just like that. Section 8 is not for the strong, okay? It's not. So those that are educated and capable of getting up, working, get up and do it. I knew a long time ago when I tried it, it wasn't for me because they tell you how comfortable you can be. How comfortable you can be. I'm not with the program. You're going to go tell me how comfortable I can be. Okay? It's only to get up the ladder. So when I dropped down the ladder, I used it to pick myself back up the ladder. And baby, I tell you one thing, I won't be blinking back at the government. They won't tell me what to do and how to do it and how to determine how comfortable I'm going to be. That's bullshit and do. I'm very blessed. I got a job, work from home. I thank God for it. I have a strong Hispanic husband. which I had to beg up on working because brother man was not going. If he had his way, I would not be working because what he wanted was
Hmm.
you gonna stay at home, take care of them kids. I'm doing all of this and that. You not. I'm like, but baby, please let me take care of our future. Long story short, I'm blessed.
Hmm.
All that to say that y'all just need to get up. Don't let this man determine y'all future because he can't. He can't work. I really just feel bad for those that's incapable of working. I'm gonna be praying for y'all, okay? This is not a joke, not a laughing matter, not something that people should be all blasting around here. Oh, it took your section.
To her, younger ladies, take note, right? Because she's been on both sides of the spectrum. She's had the benefits before, and now what she finds herself in is in a very comfortable situation. Notice she used that word, right? When she was referring to the benefits, she said that Section 8 doesn't want you to be comfortable. Now she's comfortable. Well, what do you think that she was inferring by that? The only new variable that's been added into the equation is a man. And she's covered now. And we all know that Section 8 definitely de-incentivizes you and actually restricts you from having a man in the house. Otherwise, that income will also be counted. And most likely, you won't be able to receive them anymore. You'll be ineligible. So comfortable, because that's the word she used, and I love it because she's covered now. And another thing I want to flag, notice not one curse word came out of her mouth throughout that whole video. And her husband didn't want her to work at all. She really wanted to work, and what did he do? He came in with a solution that was able to appease everybody. He said, I want you in the house, so you're going to work from home. Look at that. It's beautiful. I love that. I love to see that, and I love it for her. And she seems like a very sweet woman. And remember, where she started, which she started with what was already entrained within her and what's been passed down, which is get benefits. But she was able to evolve from that and ascend from that. And she was able to actually move on to a much more fulfilled life. So just because you might have been told a certain thing, or you might have been raised on a certain thing, or you saw other people within your proximity doing certain things, that doesn't mean that that's how you have to move. You can change everything.
I was about to say I don't need to know who need to hear this, but I actually do know who need to hear this. Section 8 recipients, please come to the front. Stop calling these complexes, asking them if they accept Section 8. Okay? A lot of people is not accepting Section 8 because of various different reasons. We're not even going to dwell on that part because that's not what this video is about. Why is no one accept Section 8? Why are you still on Section 8? I personally think that Section 8 has done such a disservice for people nowadays that nobody can even live in today's regular world. I mean, once I became an adult, Section 8 was so saturated with everybody. The waiting list was so out of this world. I wasn't about to sit at home trying to live with my mother waiting for Section 8 to put me on the list.
Mm,
Imagine if I would have still been waiting today. I have had my own apartment since the age of like 24 years old. I got about 12 years in the game, and I've had a few help from a few programs here and there throughout the years. I have accepted help from social services too. But the difference between accepting help and being dependent on the help is two different things. Y'all have become so dependent on Section 8 that a lot of y'all will just sit there and just either let it run out or be put out or be put off of Section 8 instead of finding a job and obtaining an apartment that you can afford. Rent is no longer going to be $300-400 anymore. You need to get out there and get in the paint. I feel like if Donald Trump is only going to allow older and people to be on Section 8, it should be that way. If you are at least like 55, 60 years and older, you should be on Section 8. If you have a disability, you should be on Section 8.
But unfortunately, the people that are on Section 8 are able-bodied people that can work, get a job, and get that out there, make their own money, and pay rent. There are affordable apartments out there. Some are in, more impoverished ghetto neighborhoods, but if that's what you can afford, keep your head down until you can get something better. People are out here getting whole evictions on their record when they haven't paid rent in 20 years. Been on Section 8 for 20 years and you ain't saved a dime. You didn't understand the assignment was to cop and hold, not cop and blow. You were supposed to save your money up to buy a house so that you could get out of the game. Section 8 wasn't designed to take care of y'all for the rest of y'all lives. For really? At one point in my life, I used to be upset. Like, why can't I get food stamps? Why can't I get this? Why can't I get that? I had to understand that I didn't want to be sit in a box where I'm barely making it so that I can get governmental assistance. I'd rather have an uncapped earning than be capped at a certain amount, or I'll lose my food stamps, or I'll lose my Section 8, or I'll lose. No. Y'all have sat back and let the government, like, literally bend you over and do the bending. Now there's a vast majority of you guys that are going to be homeless, that are being put off in Section 8, that can't find a place that even it takes Section 8. Wake up and smell the coffee beans. Trump is getting rid of a lot of things, and if you don't get with the program, you're going to be outside, homeless, broke, naked, and cold. There's no way in the world that you had all this time to either save some money or get your life together, and now you homeless and you ain't paid rent in 20 years. Make it make sense. The program was just designed to help. Help. It was a stepping stool. But y'all sat there and used that program as a crutch. And now the crutch has been removed. Y'all act like y'all legs don't work. What you doing? At home. Watching Maury, Jerry Springer, chilling, watching Judge Judy. What was you doing with your time when you was on Section 8 for all them years? You ain't got no money saved up? Oh no. So don't he sit here and be like, oh, it's Trump fault. He got rid of Section 8. Oh, it's this person's fault.
I mean, my thing is, you spend all that time, and like she said, 20 years, and you don't have just one skill, just one valuable skill after 20 years. That is a lot of time. But here's what I want to address before we conclude today's video. The main thing that I really heard her say that revealed something to me that I had been wondering for a pretty long time is that I've always wondered, right, when you get on the Section 8 or you apply for Section 8, and then they put you on the waiting list. When you applied for Section 8, you applied because you had no income and because you needed somewhere to stay yesterday. So you're on this waiting list for years. How are you surviving for years? I would think you would have to work or get some type of job and have some type of income coming in. But then in my mind, that's a confliction, because once they finally call you up, if you've got two jobs, because that's what you had to do to survive until your Section 8 kicked in, what do you do at that point? Do you just quit your job? So I've always wondered, during that timeline, how are people able to still be eligible to be on that list and remain on that list? I would think people would have to drop off the list when they previously applied if they were putting things in motion and actually trying to do something for themselves. But what she just gave us was the blueprint. Because what she said, and here's the key, what she said is that y'all are living with y'all family, maybe someone else on Section 8 for years, waiting for your Section 8 to kick in. And now that just blows the whole thing up. And it gives us a lot of insight and a lot of context into what's really going on. So when somebody applies for the waiting list, what they do is they go live with a family member and they intentionally don't work. And they'll just be waiting for years and be not trying to help themselves whatsoever for all this time, in the hopes that eventually their time to be called up to the front of the line will happen. And I think that exposes a lot. And I think that gives us a lot of context. And now think about the fact that people are going to be waiting all these years only to get 2 years, because it's a much more enticing offer if you're waiting a few years to get 50 years of your life taken care of. It might be worth it at that point, right? But waiting 3 years on a list to only get 2 years taken care of, now we got to reevaluate some things. So, I think that's amazing. I think that you learn something new every day, right? But we'll leave it there for today. If you could like the video, it helps tremendously, more than you know. And then also, YouTube has a feature called Hype. If you could hype the video, that's a new feature that helps smaller content creators. And what that does is it pushes us to the extent that it also pushes the larger content creators. So if you could do that, that would also be a big help. And if you're into self-improvement content, Patreon is linked below as well, where I post self-improvement videos. But until then, I'll catch you in the next video.